Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to blend casual conversations with, some insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving deep into two areas that are really changing things up. The electric vehicle market and the world of real-time voice translation.
Yeah, what's fascinating is how these two areas, while seemingly different, are both about breaking down barriers,
Right.
physical distances, in one case, language in the other.
Yeah.
And you'll see in your sources that emerging markets are playing a huge role in both.
Okay, let's start with electric vehicles. It feels like Tesla's been the only game in town for ages, but that seems to be changing.
Yeah.
Your sources mentioned some production hiccups they've been having.
That's right. Tesla's still a major player, but they've had some trouble keeping up with demand, particularly for their electric trucks and SUVs.
Okay.
And this is where a company like Rivian comes in. They're laser focused on those very segments where Tesla's struggling.
So they're not trying to take Tesla on directly across the board. That's a smart move.
Exactly. And there's another interesting twist. Rivian has partnered with Volkswagen, which gives them access to a ton of manufacturing expertise and resources.
Wow.
That kind of partnership speaks volumes about Rivian's potential.
So does this mean Tesla's days are numbered? I know Elon Musk has his hands in a lot of different pies these days. Social media, even politics. Could that be a distraction?
It's definitely something investors are watching closely.
Yeah.
When you have someone like Musk who's known for his big ideas and constant drive, spreading himself thin can be a concern, especially when you have a competitor like Rivian who's completely dedicated to EVs.
It feels like a David and Goliath story brewing in the tech world.
Yeah.
But here's a question that popped into my mind. Are we just looking at a two-company race here, or is the EV market much bigger than that?
You've hit on a crucial point. The Tesla-Rivian rivalry is definitely a compelling narrative.
Yeah.
But the global demand for EVs is growing way beyond just these two companies. The sources you shared highlight the success of recent tech IPOs in India, for instance.
Yeah, I read about that too. It seems like India's tech scene is booming. But how does that tie into electric vehicles?
Well, what companies like Tencent in China and Swiggy in India demonstrate is the economic and technological rise of these emerging markets.
Okay.
And that rise directly impacts the EV landscape.
So you're saying these emerging markets could become major players in the EV world?
Absolutely. As these economies grow, so does their middle class, and with that comes a surge in demand for personal transportation. EVs are increasingly seen as a cleaner, more sustainable option,
Right.
and these markets are poised to be hotbeds for EV adoption.
Wow. It's like a whole new chapter in the EV story is about to begin.
Exactly. And it reminds us that focusing solely on the big names in Silicon Valley can sometimes make us miss the bigger picture.
Yeah.
This is a global shift in how we think about transportation, and it's happening everywhere.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground with EVs. Before we run out of time, let's switch gears and talk about real-time voice translation. This feels like something straight out of science fiction, but it's becoming a reality.
It is. And a company called Depot is at the forefront of this technology. They've been a leader in text translation for a while, but now they're taking on the much more complex challenge of translating spoken language in real time.
Imagine a world where language barriers just disappear. Doctors communicating effortlessly with patients who speak different languages, international business deals happening seamlessly. The possibilities are mind-boggling.
Exactly. You highlight some of the most compelling use cases.
Yeah.
And what sets Depot apart is their focus on security and quality. They've worked with industries like healthcare and finance where confidentiality is paramount.
Right.
So their voice translation solution is built with that same level of security in mind.
That makes a lot of sense, especially in today's world where data privacy is so important. But let's be honest, translating spoken language on the fly is incredibly tricky. It's not just about the words themselves. It's about tone, nuance, context, all the things that make human communication so complex.
Absolutely. And that's where Depot's approach gets really interesting. They're using advanced artificial intelligence and machine learning, essentially teaching a computer to understand the subtleties of human language by feeding it massive amounts of real-world conversation data.
So it's like they're building a computer brain that can actually grasp all the nuances we humans take for granted.
You could say that. And while it's still a work in progress, the technology is advancing rapidly.
That's amazing.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. It's really remarkable to see how far this technology has come in such a short time.
It really is. And you know what else is interesting? Your sources also touch on this whole world of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It feels like that was all the rage a few years ago, and then it kind of went quiet. What's the latest on that front?
It's been a wild ride for sure. Crypto went through a massive boom, than a pretty steep crash. But things are starting to heat up again, especially with recent approvals for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs.
Okay, hold on. You're going to have to break that down for me. What's an ETF?
Good point. An ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is essentially a basket of assets that you can invest in, like a stock. So a Bitcoin ETF, for example, would track the price of Bitcoin, making it easier for investors to get exposure to crypto without having to buy and hold the actual coins.
Ah, that makes sense. So these ETF approvals are making it easier for people to invest in crypto, which is why we're seeing this resurgence.
Exactly. And it's not just individual investors. Institutional investors like big investment firms are also getting in on the action thanks to ETFs. This brings in more capital and legitimacy to the crypto market.
So are we back in the crypto craze again? Should I be digging out my old Bitcoin wallet?
Not so fast. While it's exciting to see this renewed interest in crypto, it's still important to remember that it's a highly volatile asset class.
Right.
The value of these digital currencies can fluctuate wildly, so it's crucial to approach it with caution.
Right. That's a good reminder. It's easy to get caught up in the hype. But I'm curious what's driving this renewed interest in crypto beyond just the ETFs.
There are a few factors at play. One is the overall economic outlook. When the economy is doing well, people tend to have more disposable income and are more willing to take risks on investments like crypto.
That makes sense. When people are feeling confident about the future, they're more likely to dip their toes into new and potentially volatile markets.
Precisely. And another factor is the growing recognition that blockchain technology, the technology that underpins cryptocurrencies, has applications far beyond just digital money.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about buying and selling Bitcoin anymore.
Not at all. Blockchain is being used to develop decentralized finance applications, track supply chains, create secure digital identities, and so much more.
Wow, it sounds like blockchain has the potential to revolutionize a lot of industries.
Yeah.
But what about those meme coins we were talking about earlier, like Dogecoin? Are those still a thing?
Believe it or not, they're making a comeback. With the overall crypto market on the rise, even meme coins, which were originally created as a joke, are seeing price increases.
Wait, seriously? But those coins don't really have any intrinsic value.
They don't. They lack the underlying utility and widespread adoption of established cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum.
So what's driving their price then? Pure speculation.
A lot of it comes down to social media influence. Figures like Elon Musk have publicly supported Dogecoin in the past, and that kind of attention can have a huge impact on the price, especially for meme coins that are heavily driven by sentiment and online trends.
So it's more about hype and FOMO, fear of missing out, than anything else.
To a large extent, yes.
Wow.
Meme coins are incredibly risky, and their value can swing wildly based on online chatter and celebrity endorsements. It's crucial to be cautious and not get swept up in the hype.
Okay, noted. I'll stick to my index funds for now. But shifting gears a bit, we talked earlier about how emerging markets are becoming major players in the EV space. Are there any other areas where these markets are leading the way in tech?
Absolutely. We're seeing incredible innovation coming out of India, China, and other emerging economies across a wide range of sectors. Fintech, for instance, is exploding in these regions.
Fintech, huh? I've heard that term thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
What exactly does it encompass?
Essentially, fintech refers to any technology that's used to improve or automate financial services. Think mobile payments, online lending platforms, robo-advisors. Even cryptocurrencies fall under the fintech umbrella.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. So how are emerging markets leading the way in fintech?
Well, for one thing, they have a large population of people who are either unbanked or underbanked, meaning they lack access to traditional banking services.
That makes sense. If traditional banks aren't meeting their needs, people will naturally look for alternative solutions.
Exactly. And fintech companies are stepping in to fill that void, offering innovative services that are often more accessible and affordable than traditional banking options. They're catering to a huge and underserved market.
It sounds like a win-win situation. People are gaining access to much-needed financial services, and fintech companies are tapping into a massive growth opportunity. Are there any specific examples of successful fintech companies in these emerging markets?
Definitely. One notable example is Swiggy in India. They started as a food delivery platform, but have expanded into a wide range of services, including grocery delivery bill payments and even microloans. They've essentially become a one-stop shop for all sorts of daily needs.
Wow, it's impressive. They've built a whole ecosystem around their platform.
Exactly. And that's a common trend we're seeing in emerging markets. Companies are creating integrated platforms that cater to a wide range of needs, leveraging technology to provide seamless and convenient experiences for their users.
It's like a whole new way of thinking about business and consumer interactions.
It is, and it's being driven by the unique challenges and opportunities that exist in these emerging markets. They're often leapfrogging over traditional technologies and infrastructure, embracing mobile-first solutions that are tailored to their specific needs.
This all ties back to what we were discussing earlier about the global nature of technological innovation. It's not just happening in Silicon Valley anymore.
Precisely. We're witnessing a shift in the global tech landscape, with emerging markets becoming increasingly important centers of innovation and growth.
It's really exciting to see how these different trends are converging and reshaping the world as we know it. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this part, from the resurgence of crypto to the rise of fintech in emerging markets. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, but in a good way. It's amazing to see how technology is evolving so rapidly in all these different areas. But, something that struck me while reading through these sources is the role government plays, or sometimes doesn't play, in all of this.
That's a great observation. We often focus on the private sector driving innovation, but the government has a huge impact on the tech landscape, for better or for worse.
Right, and your sources specifically mention government efficiency, or the lack thereof, as a potential roadblock to progress.
It's a delicate balance. On the one hand, governments need to set regulations and standards to protect public safety and ensure responsible development.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, too much red tape and bureaucracy can stifle the very companies that are pushing the boundaries of innovation.
That's like trying to walk a tightrope.
Exactly. And your sources bring up a really interesting example. Elon Musk, who we talked about earlier, has been quite vocal about his frustrations with government regulations, particularly in areas like space exploration and EVs.
Right.
He argues that these regulations are often overly burdensome and slow down progress.
Yeah, I remember him saying something about that. But isn't there also a valid argument for having these regulations in place? And think about self-driving cars, for example. There are so many safety concerns that need to be addressed before we unleash those on the roads.
Absolutely. And that's where the tension lies. It's about finding that sweet spot between fostering innovation and ensuring safety and responsible development. It's not an easy task, and it often involves a lot of debate and compromise.
So how do we strike that balance? It feels like a constant struggle.
It is. And there's no one-size-fits-all solution. It often depends on the specific technology and the potential risks and benefits involved. But open dialogue between policymakers, industry leaders, and the public is crucial. We need to have informed discussions and weigh the different perspectives carefully.
It sounds like we need to be having a lot more of those conversations if we want to ensure that technology continues to advance in a way that benefits everyone.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that's a key takeaway from our deep dive today. Technology is evolving at an incredible pace, and it's up to all of us, governments, businesses, and individuals alike, to shape that evolution in a responsible and beneficial way.
That's a great point. It's not just about sitting back and watching things happen. It's about actively engaging and making sure that technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
Well said. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. This has been a fascinating exploration of some of the most exciting and challenging developments in technology today.
I completely agree. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. We hope you found this episode insightful and thought-provoking.
And remember, the world of technology is constantly evolving, so stay curious, stay informed, and keep those questions coming.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.